Hi everybody, this is Cindy from Ideas Times 2. Welcome back to our channel. Today I have a tutorial for you. I would like to share with you how I made this small folio, and it measures 5.5 by 7.5 inches. Perfect size for a backpack, book bag, handbag, and can be used for lots of different things. And so I thought I would show you how I made this cute little folio today. So what you're going to need is a file folder. Any color can be new, used, it doesn't matter. The weight doesn't matter. The one I'm using is pretty lightweight and cheap, pretty cheap one. Doesn't matter. What is important though is that the file folder tab is either on the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter if it's the top or the bottom, but should not be one with a center tab. So what you're going to need to do, first thing, is to score some lines. If you don't have a scoreboard, you can use a ruler and some kind of a tool like I'm using a bone folder, and I'm going to score through both the front and the back of the file folder at the same time. This is lightweight enough, cheap enough that it doesn't matter. But with the fold on the left side, you're going to want to measure over 5.25 inches and score all the way down. And I'm going to go over it a couple of times to make sure that it's all the way through, and then rotate so that your fold now is on the top, and measure 7.25 inches and score again. So you can see there are my score lines, one at 5.5 inches and one at 7.5 inches. And you can see it went through both, got a little glare on there, both the front and the back just fine. So now I'm going to flip it so that this is this is going to be the cover of the folio, and then these are going to be the pockets. So my tab is going to be down on the bottom left-hand corner. So the first thing I'm going to do, or the next thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to put a notch on the fold here so that we'll be able to make the pockets. So it doesn't have to be too big. So I'm just going to go from about halfway between the fold and the first score mark, so not very big, and then just angle gently towards the score line. So that's where I'm going to end, is at the score line. So it'll be something like that, and you don't have to do it while it's folded. You could easily just cut, do a couple of cut marks. I do it folded so that it should be even on both sides. And then the next thing I'm going to do is fold at the score mark, and then doing the same thing here at this fold from the bottom to the score line. I'm going to do another little notch, and probably even smaller than the one that I just made. Just a very gentle angle towards that score mark. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it on the score mark. And then just a very small notch. and end right at the score mark. So it'll look something like that. And the next thing we're going to do is make the large center pockets. So I want my pockets to be notched. So the way I'm going to do that is to put my ruler on the score line. And then holding it down, I'm going to fold from this corner to the ruler. The ruler is going to be my mark. Just keep that steady and fold it there, and then on the other side, and do the same thing. From the center, I'm going to fold over to the edge of my ruler. Give those a good burnish. And I'm going to glue this down. If you want to, I suppose you could cut it off. Use double-sided tape, whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and just use some Fabri-Tac. Fold that down. Use my bone folder to make sure that everything is pressed really well. I've got some glue oozing out a little bit, but that's okay. And then the same thing on the other side. A little bit of glue seepage on this one too, but it'll dry pretty fast. I don't think it'll be an issue, and that'll be on the inside so nobody can see it. So I want to make gusseted pockets. You don't have to have gusseted pockets, but I would like, just for the center pockets, I want them to have gussets. So if you don't want gussets, you can glue this directly down. But if you want to put paper in there, I would do that first. I would glue my 5x7 paper and then put glue here, and then make your pockets like that. But I don't want to do that, even though that is perfectly fine and acceptable. I don't want to do that. I want to have gussets on the inside pockets. So my pockets are should be 4 1/4 inches, 4 1/4. 4 1/4 inches tall. So what I'm going to do is cut paper scrap to 4 1/4 inches, and this should be 2 inches. And I'm going to cut it in half again the other direction, giving me 2 1-inch pieces of paper. It does not matter what the paper, it could be any scrap. It doesn't have to coordinate or match. No one's going to see it. So what I'm going to do is score on the 1/2 inch mark on these. If you don't have a scoreboard, you don't need one. You could use a ruler and just at about the halfway mark, just as you're basically scoring your paper then with the ruler. Or if you have a table that has a sharp edge, you could use that. Does not matter. So you're going to have 2 gussets, kind of like this. The next thing you need to do is to cut 45-degree angles from each end with the folded side facing you. So there's one. I'm going to flip it over and do the other one. And on the second one, 45-degree angle from the corner with the folded end facing me. And the other corner. I'm going to throw my scraps away. And I'm going to give these a quick burnish. And then I'm going to put the gussets over here on the inside edge of the pocket. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. And with the folded side facing to the right for the right hand pocket, I'm going to glue that down. And give it a little bit of glue. And flip it over and glue that down, and then the same thing on the other side. On this side though, you're going to want the folded edge facing to the left. So facing to the left on the left side pocket and facing to the right on the right side pocket. And then a little shot of glue. And flip it over. Give everything a good press. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is put my paper behind there. And the reason I do that is because then the paper is covering the gusset, so that when I'm putting papers in to the pocket, it doesn't get caught on the edges of the gusset. So I know it seems like you'd want to put the paper down first, but it's not a problem to put the glue on there and then stick it in the pocket. And let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and a little indecisive there. I was trying to decide if I should ink, but I don't think I'm going to. Pardon me, I like to ink my edges. I'm going to go ahead and ink. Just quickly ink my edges. And I'm not going to worry about doing the bottom or anything because it's not going to be visible. And I'm just going to do the one side here together. Oops. This paper is so nice. It's hard. It was really hard for me to decide which design I wanted on the front and which on the back, and it's fantastic paper. Besides being cute, it's got such a fantastic texture. So I'm making a gluey mess. Press that down really well. So there's your first pocket, gusseted pocket. So the next thing would be the side pockets. So the side pocket, you're going to fold it over, flip this up, and make sure your edges are nice and crisp. And for the side pockets, I would not recommend putting a gusset on there. And I'm speaking from experience because the first one that I made, I did put a gusset, and it just did not look, it was just not right. So if you are going to put paper on here, you might want to do that before you put your glue your pocket down, which I would like to have paper there. So you can see I did on this one. And I'm using this really pretty Christmas pack. I think I might go with the plaid for those pockets. And so this space should be 7 1/4, so I'm going to do a 7-inch by 3 1/4. So 7 by 3 1/4 to go here. So there's 3 1/4. And the other side I think is a little bigger, so I'm going to measure that one separately. And that should be about 7. Actually, I should verify before I cut, right? As they say, measure twice, cut once. So there's my paper for this corner. Now I kind of want to have it notched right here. And where's my, there it is. What I'm going to do, what I'm going to use is my envelope punch. So let's move that out of the way. I'm going to use my envelope punch, and I want to put a notch here on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my paper up right in the center of the scoring guide, right there at the apex. And I'm going to just give that a push, and you can see it makes a nice little file folder like notch there. And so I'm going to put this right there, and just a real quick little ink. I'm not overdoing the ink on this one, just enough to give it a little aged look. And I think this is the side that might see that corner just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this completely all the way down. I'm running out of glue. This is my last little emergency bottle that I've had kind of stashed away just for emergencies. And I guess being quarantined since, gosh, March 12th, this is pretty much, I'm pretty much at the state of glue emergency. So I'm going to put this right here, make sure I've got a little bit of an edge all the way around, Press that down really well. Then just a little bead of glue up the side here. Got a little, maybe too much on there. And then flip it over. And so you have another little pocket here. So we've got the two big gusseted pockets and then the smaller pockets here on the side. And for the other side, you're going to do the same thing. If you're going to put a background paper on, you need to do that first. And it's still 7 inches tall, but this side is about 3.5 inches. So it's a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go ahead and cut 3.5. by 7. That's not normally how I do stuff, but normally I'm a little better at measuring. And now on this one I'm going to want to have the notch up here on the right hand side, and I'm going to do the same thing using my board, but I'm going to put the paper to the left here and right smack at the apex of that scoring guide, and then I've got my nice perfect little notch right there. Quick, just little brush of ink. And glue this completely down. And have a little border all the way around. And the bead of glue just over here on the left side. And flip it over and press. And now I've got my second pocket. So that's the basic construction. You have your two big pockets here, two big pockets here, or two smaller pockets here. So really the what is left is to decorate and kind of decide what you are going to use it for. So what I did, I'll show you what I did instead of finishing it together, because I think that would take a little too much time. I try to keep the tutorials down to about 30 minutes or so. I'll show you what I did on this one. So for the decorating, it is up to you how much you want to do or how little. So I put paper. I mean, you could make these pockets if you wanted to, but I don't want this to get too bulky. So I just have the two gusseted pockets here in the middle. Over here, I'm going to put a little notepad. So I have not put anything else over here besides some paper. On this side, I have a little pocket. So you can see how that worked on mine. For the flaps there, what I did I put the background paper, and then I put a coordinating paper over just to decorate those, and a little a tag right here, a little label. And then on the front cover, I layered 3 different papers, and so the first one on the bottom is 5 by 7, and the next one was 6.5 by 4.5, and then the one in the middle was 4 by 6. So I did the 3 layers on there, and I left the back blank since it's navy blue. I thought it looked really good. I think if I was doing this on a maybe a manila folder, or if it was a used one, I would decorate the back, but I've left this one plain. So that's the file folder. The only other thing you might want to consider is maybe a closure, especially if you're going to keep this like in a purse or a book bag or something. You might want to have a closure on this one. So what you could do, obviously, is a string closure. Wrap it around. You could do an elastic. An elastic would be super easy and would be really cute. I'm going to use Velcro tabs on this one and just put them right here on each side so that it Velcro's closed. But that's it. I mean, super easy, right? One file folder and a couple of flips, a couple of folds, a couple of flips, cut a couple places, and there you go. All done. So started off as file folder, and turned into that, right? Super cute, right? And super easy. So I hope you give it a try, and I'd love to see what you make. So if you make one of these, take a picture and post it to our Facebook group. We would love to see your projects. And if you like this project, give me a thumbs up. Write a comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And we love our subscribers. And thank you so much for joining me today. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye, everybody.